Hello, it's Stoo here, and it's part 6 of me colouring in my Amiga 1000 illustration. Are you ready? I'm not. I have a confession. I was fiddling around earlier, and I downloaded the Kickstart image off of the internet. Where else would I download it? Could download it off of a tree or a roof or off of a floppy disk. But anyway, I got it off the internet. And I played around and I thought, oh, yeah. The idea was to bodge it and warp it. So this is what I did. I'm going to switch it on now, this layer, and I did a bodge. And it kind of like, and I bodged it in there, and it's like, no, it's not really working. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on last, because I'm trying to work out the best way of doing it. I think I might have some guides, draw the lines round, and then what I'll do is I'll use just a pixel brush and recreate this using, which I think probably will look better in this with this particular style of art rather than having the actual one on there. I'll use the colours and everything the same, and I'll keep the font the same and everything. But if you look at it, you think, yeah, it just warping it and putting another, just wasn't happy with it. I mean, I might have another go. It's a bit of a bodge, really. I don't really normally bodge stuff like that. I usually just like to do things properly, but I thought I'd try it out just to see if it works. And it kind of works, but the perspective is out a little bit, and and it's not really. I mean, I'm trying to get the curvature of the screen in, and to do it, I'd have to put some guides in like that, and then another one like that, so I can use those to give me the curvature. I mean, like the bottom of the hand would be curved. I got the bit on there, but when I tried to warp the bottom, it just wasn't having it. So I think it's a source image file. I'll have to play around with it. But I thought by the time I've played around with all that, it might be easy for me just to redraw it. Just put a couple of lines in. So anyway, I'm going to switch that off for now because it's a bit distracting. I mean, the idea is I'll probably have a little, maybe a little bit of a bloom effect on it, and maybe a little bit of the light reflecting around here once this is all done. But for now, I'm going to draw the monitor or colour the monitor in as it's as it's switched off. So that's the plan, and I probably will be pausing it for myself. You won't know the pauses because I'll be, joining those in edit. But I'm going to pause it smooth because I'm actually going to record this over a couple of days because I'm doing this at 7 o'clock on a Friday, and yeah, I think my dinner's ready actually soon. So I'm probably gonna stop it and then I'll carry on probably maybe Sunday or something, and get this one uploaded next week sometime. So yeah. Anyway, first things first is I want to start by shading all this in. Now I did notice again on the reference images, and I should know this because I've actually got these monitors. If you've got the Amiga monitor and the 1084, there's an Amiga which I think was a 1081, but on the 1084 they actually had like a headphone jack there, so which I think is a headphone jack. And I had this monitor. I've got a 1084S somewhere. I think it's at my parents' house. I'm sure it's there. And I've also got a Philips 8833. But for this video, I'm going to kind of keep it fairly loose, so it'll be sort of a kind of a 1080X, rather than being a particular model. It's because they all had the same kind of style anyway, didn't they? They all had the same kind of look. Pretty cool look actually. I really like these monitors. They were really kind of sort of common in a lot of the people's homes, and I had a couple of them. I think we had a couple of them at Sensible. I think we had a 1084. 1084S. I think we had a 1084D as well. So yeah, there's a lot of them, a lot of these monitors. And I like the design. I think these were based off of the Philips, and they kind of did well. One of the ones I really wish I'd managed to get hold of in the early days was a 1081, which had the really cool. It was like really black, almost black screen. It was quite shiny, and I noticed on the newer models when they did the 1084, this screen here had almost had like a coating on it, or had like a more of a grey look to the tube. I personally prefer the screens to be really dark. It just gave me much better contrast ratio when I'm doing my pixel art. But yeah, it's not. I'm sure that you can't really find many of them monitors around now that are actually working unless they're already in people's houses. And I think buying one these days, you're probably taking a risk if you don't know what you're doing. I certainly wouldn't buy one now because I wouldn't have a clue what to do with these. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to start the process. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on this side. I'm going to bring this, get some shading on the side, get that in. And if you look at these actually in real life, these are actually at a different angle, these side bits. So I'm going to reflect that in the image when I do it now. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to go to my shade layer and good old faithful, and there we go. And let's select all of this. I'm going to do it in a few parts because I don't want to go too far off the center of this black line, mostly because I don't want to end up with a situation where I've selected an area and it hasn't it hasn't selected it in the center, and I want it to sort of be fairly central. So yeah, so I mean this bit up here, I'm probably going to erase the top of this once I've edited it in because it's going to have a slight highlight on it, but I'll do that after. And again, coming down here, just select that, bring that down. I wonder how many times I select things when I'm drawing this sort of stuff. It's quite a lot. Right, go to me big old, I was going to swear then, me big old, off brush, and here we go. Right, and now because this is I want to try and get a different sort of shade to here. I mean, I don't want all these to look the same. I'm going to kind of retain this kind of colouring, so I'm going to pick the blue for this, and that's going to be sort of on there like that. Obviously not like that. I'm going to bring it down to, I don't know what. Oh, I think he's going to do 5 again. Would you? Yeah, here we go, 5. Bring that down there, and I'm going to bring this just to give it a gentle, just a gentle kind of like just a stroke across like that. And again, when you're doing this sort of stuff, you can if I don't move the actual. So if you look at that, it's adjusting it, but I'm not actually adjusting the actual limit. It's painting with 5%. Now, if I take the pen off the tablet and do it again, it'll add another 5%. So the great thing is you can cover a whole area with that 5% fill, and you haven't got to worry. So you can say, oh, well, that's all right, and you can go over it again with another 5% fill. Just keep doing it until you're happy. But the beauty is, if I then go to erase, it doesn't erase it at 5%. It kind of does it at very gradual. So you can kind of build up a gradient. Now, I did have this question before about gradients, and again, I will use them on other pieces of art, but for this, I prefer to have a little bit more manual control, and I can just go back over and just say, oh, I'll have that, and I'll just build it up. So I can do that, and you get that kind of nice. It's not even like a real gradient in terms of, you get up from start to finish. It's almost like multi-point gradients, because you can then bring a little bit in. I can pick up a little bit of light, and I can just loosely go over it, bring up a little bit of banding appearing now. Don't really want that. Take that off, and it's just enough just to give you that little bit of a different kind of like shading. We can go over it again if I want to go darker. I don't know if that works. Maybe too dark. I don't know. Might look alright. I mean, I've got to think about these areas here, and once I do this area, because the light is going to be quite light, so it's sometimes nice to have the contrast. I mean, what I could do is go down and just do, I mean, the other thing to do is to go and bring it up to say 15%, or go a bit further up, 10%, and then you start to see it all coming on, and then it's like that. So I think that might work actually, just having it like that. Just bring it down like this. There you go. So it's not quite filling it in. So you've got a little bit of a dark area. Yeah, I think that'll do. And I'm probably going to add a few little bits and pieces around here anyway, like a little bit of dirt, and because I was going to do that to the case, add some dirt, just not a lot, just a little few specks here and there, because I don't like things being too clean. I like them to be a little bit grubby, a little bit, because that's real life, isn't it? Unless you've got perfectly restored machine. These would normally have little marks on them, like user marks. Like might be a little mark where the mouse buttons or something. So I'd like to kind of keep that sort of thing in there, like where the disk drive is. There'd be like some thumb marks where the fingers have been pushing the eject button, and now where the discs go in, there might be a little bit of a mark there, and you just kind of. It's nice to reflect that when you're doing stuff, so you're not end up making everything too clean and perfect looking. I don't like things looking too perfect. I like everything to a little bit dirty, a little bit kind of grubby. And let's hang on, have I gone over there? Yeah, let's just take that bit off. Put that in there like that. That's it. Right. Okay, and then I can do the same for this. But because I've done it already on here, I don't really want it to be quite as dark. Now I've left it on 10, and you can see that's going to be much darker. So I'm going to go back to 5, and I'll just bring that down. But the beauty again is I can bring the, see, I've noticed on there, if I bring that down there, it just adds a little bit of a dark tint to that side, like that. If I hide that there, and it just starts to make it sort of look like it makes a bit more sense having the shading. And I love this kind of like coarseness you get. I just love that little bit of coarseness. And again, on the actual reference images, this area here has got a little bit of a highlight, believe it or not. If I look at I've got a few pictures of these monitors on my other screen, and it's actually catching light down here. So I'm going to try and reflect that in this image. I'm going to try and reflect it so that it sort of is as near as possible to what the real ones look like, and that'll be a much better image for me because I'll be happy. I do get a little bit carried away with some of the details when I do these because I think, oh, that's nice, and then I see something else, and then I see something else, and then it's like, oh no, there's something else. And part of the the things you learn as you do art for a living is to say, especially when you do it for client jobs and you're doing customer jobs, you used to say, right, is that good enough for the client? Is that acceptable? Does that do the job? And you say yes, right, and that's it, ship it, done. And that's something that I was talking to Chris Wilkins about a few months ago because he was saying about how he gets all his stuff done. And he just said, like, same thing. You just ship it. If it's done, if it's fit for purpose, it does the job that's intended, then that's good. And I think that's the key. If you're doing artwork for yourself and it's personal artwork, you can spend as long as you like on it. But if it's for commercial reasons, you need to say, right, that job's done. It's good. The same with all this. I could go back and I could make sure all these lines are all exactly the same width. I could go through and tidy all this up and make it all so all this is unique and everything's sort of, it's all the same. But it won't matter because at the end of the day, this is designed to be printed out for posters and canvas prints and maybe other things later on if I want to. And that's what the purpose of these is for, and also to give me some, give me a bit of joy painting because I do really enjoy doing these. But once it's done, it's done. I won't have to worry about going back and think, oh no, I'm not happy with that bit because once I've done the image, the image is finished. So right, done that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on to erase. I'm going to take my brush down a little bit, and I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to bring in a little bit of the highlight area there, and just bring that up. Probably won't even pick it up actually. It's so tiny. But the great thing is, when I come to putting a little bit of a highlight on that with the like white or something, which are really really sort of low setting, you can kind of just see that now. You can just about see it. I could take that up to 15, then it will really show up. Yeah, see, even 15, I might be able to get away with 15 on that, just to bring it right up. And then it just, you can hear my hand on the tablet. It sounds like it's farting. It's as my hand's moving across the tablet, it's going. So I don't know if it's picking up on the mic, but yeah. So, and then you just get that little bit there. And that's enough. And then what I'll do is when I come back and do the other bit, I'll actually add some white in here just to give you that bit more oomph when it's been shaded. But this bit looks almost done really now. And there's a little few bits and pieces I'm going to add down here because another thing I notice on these, you do get, even though they're plastic, I do pick up a little bit of the surrounding colouring and a little bit of the surrounding sort of reflections. So again, I'll try and translate that into this sort of roughly without going into making it look photorealistic. So I've done that side, and next job is to do the inside here. I'm going to do the bevel. Is it the bezel? The bezel. And that'll be the similar kind of thing. So I'm going to start with just doing round here, and we're going to do that up to there. There we go. Might as well go over the top. And I've just spotted a little fill area which I will fix because I I don't really want to have any areas where they're not supposed to be a certain colour, and they are. Getting this bit here, I'm gonna fix that. I'll fix that in a minute. I'll do this bit and then I'll fix it. So what I want to do on here is I just want to do the corners, because when you look at these, this actually goes like dark, and it picks up the light here, and it goes back to being dark, and you get a little bit of light here. And I'm looking at it from different angles, and they all kind of have a similar kind of feel to these edges. The top bit is very dark because it's got no light coming into it, but these ones you get a little bit of a shadow coming down here, and then it gets a little bit lighter and it goes back again. And I'm just going to try and recreate that with this brush. Let's do that on there. Let's take the erase off, and we'll drop that down to 5, because you know me, I do like me 5%, and just bring that in like that, and then just bring it down. And then what I'll do is I'm going to erase that bit just to smooth it off. I'll probably come back and do that on a higher setting. Just bring that down like that, and that's that bit. Bring that down and put that in. Be about there, like that. See now, look at that. You know why? Because my wife's just messaged me to say my dinner's ready. So I'm trying to operate my phone and draw at the same time. Dangerous combination, isn't it? So I'm going to just do this little bit here. See that in there? Just bring it in like that, and then bring that up like that. And again, what I'll be doing, I'll be erasing these lines to make them a bit more blurry once they're like that, and then in again, and then I'll just blur these ones in a minute and do that properly, like that. So bring that over like that, like there, like that, like that, like that. There we go. And that's, I mean, that could end up being almost black. It doesn't need to be, but it might look better. It's just almost like a black colour. And bring that down like that. Then I'm going to erase that to my erase. Just bring it off like that. And you see, it just takes it in and gets rid of this banding. Just gets rid of this banding that's on there. And that's just a foundation. This is just a foundation shading at the moment. I'm not saying this is going to be the final bit. This is just basically for me, so that I've got like a rough bit to work with, and I say, right, I can then build on top of that. So yeah, and you can see that kind of taking shape. It's just sitting there. I'm going to save this out. You won't know this because this will be instant changeover, but I'm going to go and have a break now and have my dinner. So and I'll be back probably in probably about a split second, because in the edit it's magic, and it's like being a Time Lord. I can travel. So I'm actually going to go to my dinner. I'm going to fly into the future and come back again, and then I'm going to. So it's amazing, isn't it? So anyway, I'll be back in 1 second. Right, I'm back from the future to the past into the present, or I could be back from the past to the future to the present. That might work too. But as I said in my previous bit, before I cut, I was going for my dinner. Well, that was 2 weeks ago. And since then, I've forgotten what I was doing on here. So I've just looked at the file, I've loaded the file up. And it's obviously the outside here I'm doing. We'll say that I've actually bought a new microphone. So the sound will be slightly different on this, but as you may notice, because you'll hear the change straight away. I've got myself a new Trust, what's it called? A Trust Velica USB gaming microphone, which is about £50 from Argos. And yeah, it's much better, much better. I used to use a Microsoft headset, which had, I think it was a Light Chat or Chat Lite 3000, which I'd had for donkey's years. Use it mainly for Skype when I do conference calls and things like that. And the sound was always a problem when I've recorded these, was that, you know, I'd have to go into post edit and just bump up the volumes a bit, add more compression, normalise it, and do all the usual twiddly things you have to do. But I was never happy with it, because I had to crank it up all the time, and it took a lot of aggravation just to do it. And I thought, oh, this one, I'm getting the level straight away. So, and not only that, I don't have to have the microphone right in front of my mouth. I've actually got the microphone mounted on the desk,
next to the keyboard, next to the graphics tablet. I'm speaking. I don't need to wear a headset, and it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I can move my head about. I'm not, if I want to drop a tea or drop a water, I've got it there, and I don't have to worry about moving the microphone. So yeah, so hopefully you guys will hear the difference from the start of this video to where we are now. Certainly for me, I'm over the moon with it. So anyway, onwards we go. First thing I'm going to do on here is just get this shading sorted out. And from the last one, I started shading this in, but I'm not happy with that. I want to go a little bit further into it, so I want to add a little bit more to these corners here and here and up here. This one's not so bad. I might leave that one. I'm going to fix this little bit here where I've obviously forgot to do the fill, and I'm going to call this bit Collins, Phil Collins, obviously, because I'm so stupid when it comes to jokes like that. It's proper dad jokes and dad humour. No one ever laughs apart from me, but it's better than to have an audience of 1 than an audience of 0, says the man in front of the mirror. And so I'm going to do that now, and then the plan is to get this to make it look a little bit sort of shaded here, so it's light and then to dark, and that brings this in ready for the outside bit. And then once I've done all this, I'm going to then do the actual screen. Now I've decided I'm going to do the screen as if it's turned off, with all the sheen and the shine and all the little bits of shading around the outside. Reason being is I was looking at the Commodore PET that I'd done for the front of the colouring book, which I have to say is actually available on sale on my shop, thedesigndroid.co.uk, if you fancy grabbing yourself a copy. And I was looking at the PET, and I thought, I'm going to do the screen for this one, because I was really pleased with the way that came out, the way I shaded it. It just looks when you do something, you think, I'm really pleased with that. So I thought I'll do it for this one, and then what I'm going to probably look at doing afterwards is add the actual Kickstart screen as an overlay, and maybe I can also then, if I want to in some future date, use this monitor for something else if I want to, so I can put that and just use it for, like, if I want it on the website for something, I can cut this out and I can put different screens on it or whatever, and I've got it, and it'll just look nice. And so I thought that's what I'll do. So join me on this journey, I should say. What's the point of saying something silly if you can't say it properly? Anyway, so I've got the shading all set up. I've got my colour selector, which is a nice dark blue. It's based off of this colour, and I'm just going to go in, and the light area is going to be around here. It's only really to reinforce the idea that this is in shadow. So obviously the light is going to come in from here. You've got a little bit of darkness there, which I added on the first part. Get me words out on the first bit of this video. So I'm going to continue that on here. I'm just going to put a little bit of shading in there, not a lot, just a little rough, just a little bit there, just to get the shading in there, just to give you a bit of shadow. And I'm going to use my normal trick of going through and adding this up until I then come back through, and then with the eraser tool and just erase it off like that. And the reason I do that is because it just adds that, you see, that kind of coarseness, which I like that roughness. I love colouring pencils, and I just don't do enough. And one of the things I'm looking to do in the new year is to do some more, just get back to doing some basics, doing some proper like colour and pencil illustrations, and just getting back into that stuff, watercolours. I've got a lot of projects I've got planned which I want to try and get off the ground in the new year, and they're nothing to do with computers. A lot of it's just stuff outside of computers and tech and that. And I thought, well, I'm going to go the old-fashioned route, and as much as I love doing all the digital stuff, I spent most of my life doing digital art, from pixel art to this illustration stuff. I'm going to get back to the basics and do some proper sort of pencil work. And the reason I like the pencil is when I was a kid, or when I was a teenager I should say, the Snowman came out, and Raymond Briggs' artwork was just such a huge influence on me. I just loved the art style, his work. He was a bit of a miserable sort of times, I believe, but his artwork was just fantastic. I loved it. I loved the way that he got such definition in the colours and just the whole thing. I loved his style. So for me, colouring pencils is something I've kind of picked up over the years. But I don't have a lot of chance to do it commercially, because obviously I'm known as a pixel artist. So for me, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to start doing some of this sort of stuff. As I'm getting older, I'm thinking, right, I'm going to do this stuff, get some of this off the ground, and really sort of take it on board and run with these projects. Because a lot of the time you have these ideas, you just think, yeah, I'll do that, and then nothing happens, and you think, well, unless I make a start on it, these things never going to happen. So I thought that's one of the things I'm going to look at doing in the new year, getting some of these projects off the ground and seeing what I can do with them. You know, it's very easy just to have these ideas and then just let them sit in a folder on the hard drive in the, you know, you're sitting there waiting to be used, and you think, oh, and they never happen. I mean, I was talking to Mark Ripley a while ago, and he's been starting porting the code for Blobit Push over to Godot, and which is the open source game engine. And we're looking to get Blobit Push finished at last. It's only taken us about 12 years or something. It's crazy. I think we started in 2008, the original. We've got that to do, and that's one project I'm looking to kind of finish. But there's a lot of stuff that you want to do, and you think, is it worth the time, or should I put my energy and effort into something else? So it's, I don't know. You know, you can pick some ideas off, out your head and think, I'll run with that. I'm going to do this now because I've just noticed it has been bugging me for a while, and I'm going to just get rid of this blinking bit here, which has been getting on my nerves. I'll unselect that, bring that across there. Do this freehand now, which is probably a bit dodgy because I know I'm going to go over the line. Let's turn the canvas around a bit. I do love that. I know it's nothing really, is it? It's spinning the screen around, but in a piece of art software, I think that's just incredible. Because I'm so old school. I still get excited seeing the King Tut mask being rotating D-Paint. It's like, whoa, that's amazing. Who remembers that when you see that first time? It was quite incredible, wasn't it? Seeing that on a 16-bit machine, it's all new, and you see this Amiga, which is this machine from the future, and then it starts manipulating images like that, and you think, how the heck is it doing that? Because looking from a 64, you think, well, the 64 was a great little machine, Spectrum's a great little machine, Amstrads, all these old machines are pretty cool, some really cool stuff on them, and then you see this new machine come out, and it's like, wow, how the heck did it do that? So I still live in them days sometimes, because I was, I remember it when it happened, and you think, oh God, how things have changed now. So right, that's that done. Right, let's put that on there, because I don't really want to leave that unclocked, because sometimes you can click it and you think, oh, wrong layer. So I've done that bit there. I'm not really happy with it just yet, but I'm gonna just blur it off a little bit. Let's get that one. I'm just going to, let's reselect. Let's make sure I have reselected it. That's it. Nice one. And I'm going to just take this off here because this is still a bit light up, this bit. So I'm going to bring this one down. I might as well put the opacity up so it will actually take that off. I don't really want it to be that light. I want it to be visible, but I don't want it to be that light. And I want this to come down into the area there. That's it. That's exactly what I'm after. A few little highlights there, which I'm going to have to get rid of because that will bug me. But you see what I'm doing? It's just adding a little bit of depth, to the screen. And then once all this is done, that'll add to it. And I'll probably come in and do a little bit extra shading around the outside here afterwards, and just bring that like that. Yeah, it's a bit too heavy. Let's bring that opacity down. Bring that in. I'll just curve that round like that, and there. And just erase that off. Yeah, that looked too bad. It jumped then, didn't it? It's a bit weird. Tell you, this machine's going a bit funny today. It's been a bit temperamental. I don't know what it's doing. It's getting a bit funny. Yeah, it's really weird. Just jumping all over the place. I may have to reset this. I've had a load of stuff open today. I had some Affinity Publisher files open. I've had some Affinity Designer files open. I've had GIMP running. I've had a zillion tabs on the web browser opening. I've had so much stuff. I've had XMView opened. Got so much stuff. I had batch files running. So I've had a load of stuff running on this machine today, and I haven't cleared it all out and reset it. So I don't know if there's anything like residue in there. There's nothing running now. But it's just funny, isn't it, with these machines? You can do all that, and then you get like a little bit of a slowdown, and you think, what's going on? Normally you'll get a reset and it'll fix itself. So right, that's that bit. Yeah, I think that'll do for now. That's what I want. I don't want it to be clean and nice. I want it to be a little bit dirty, because I'm going to go back and grub all this up a little bit as well. I mean, as you've seen by the pictures from the first videos, the source Amiga I use for these these reference images for this machine, all the pictures we took, or I took, they were so grubby. The machine, it was all the pictures that show how grubby this machine was. But I want to add some of that filth into it. Yeah, filth, bit of old filth. Just dirty it up a bit, but not enough to make it sort of look like someone's left it out in the garden for 3 years and it's been, the birds have nested on it and, we've had slugs and snails on it. Just so it's a bit of use, I mean, I'm going to put little marks on the keyboard. I mean, go through and add a few little extra dirt marks on here, just to give it a little bit of extra, bit of substance to the thing, so it's not nice clean as a whistle. I mean, some of the illustrations I've done, I've made, I think some are a little bit too clean. I'm thinking maybe I should go back and dirty them up, but I tend to not want to go back over stuff when I finish. I like to leave them, but I am thinking maybe I should do a few little tweaks to some of them just so they're a little bit dirty. Right, so that's there. Now I've noticed a little bit of a problem here. When I did this, that line should not be there. It's not good. Where's the line art? That's on here. Where's the monitor? There we go. So that's on there. I'm going to just remove that because that should not be like that. That's not right. When I did these, the pressure was on to actually get them done really quickly, because I did actually fall ill at the Christmas time, just before Christmas 2 years ago, and was quite ill actually. I got a bit of a chest infection and it was not very nice, and so all the plans I had to get all these finished went out the window. And so when I came back, I was racing to get all this stuff done, and I'd already done all this one, but I was racing to get it all finished. And of course, sometimes you're best not to do more than you have to. You just get what you need to get done and then call it a day for a bit. But I hammered it to such a degree where I actually made myself a little bit ill. So I don't do that now. I never ever work into silly mode again. I just don't do it. I just I always try and balance the work structure out now, so I'm not doing that. So what I'm going to do here, that's like that. I'm just going to darken that little line there. It doesn't have to be exact, just so that it's a bit more continuity between the rest of it in there. And I'm going to add a little bit in there as well, because that does do that. There we go, and that just finishes that off. So yeah, as I was saying, a lot of these, when I did these, there was such a lot of pressure to get them done, because we had to get the printers, print deadlines, and obviously the backers and all that sort of stuff. You have to make a call. Do you go through and make sure every line is exactly correct, or do you get the outsides done, and so and then anything in the middle is nearly correct to aspect, but not, and perspective, but not quite. And I chose the latter purely because of time schedules. Most of it is all spot on, but there's a few bits like where there's some of these holes and bits and pieces I just made up as I went along, just in arty mode, rather than being like Mr. Technical Drawing mode. It's more arty mode. So we've got that bit done. So I'm going to go and do this outside bit now. Now this is very fairly easy, this bit, because there's not really a lot of shading to do on it. So I'm just going to select it. I'm going to fill these holes in first though, because again I don't really want to leave them open. I just want to make them so they're a little bit sort of finished. And then see, like, and here as well. So just bring that across. Just make sure that's there like that. Again, it doesn't have to be precise. It's just to tidy it all up. And I think that looks all right. A lot of this stuff was just done very, very quickly to get the deadlines done, and because it's for a colouring book, it wasn't, I never intended to do a lot of these colour these in afterwards. This is just an afterthought of going through and actually colouring them in, because I enjoy doing it. And plus I would like to see some prints on the wall of these. I think the posters come out really well actually on these ones. I mean, the canvas prints are excellent, but the thing when you print on canvas is you don't get the as much definition, because the canvas material by its very nature has got a texture on it. So you get the print, if you're going to go for a big one, you get that definition, but when you get lower down it still looks good, but you don't get the definition you get as in, say, for the poster print, where you can see the fine detail as much, because you haven't got that texture underneath it. I mean, to be honest, I mean, both styles look really good, but for me, I think the the poster prints probably slightly more definition than the canvas prints. I mean, the canvas prints just look really amazing. I mean, when they come through from customer orders, I think, wow, that's I still get a bit of a buzz when I see them, and seeing something that was digital, transferring from the digital world to the analog world, and you think, wow, that's come out well. But again, it's what you want, isn't it? I mean, canvas prints looks pretty cool on the wall, and the way I've done a lot of these is I kind of make it so they are all actually designed for the canvas size, rather than just taking one piece of artwork and whacking it across in one file. These are actually scaled accordingly so that the edges do match up and for whatever size. So right, let's get that done. Let's lock that off because let's get to shading level. Right, I'm going to select this area now, and let's put that on there, and that there. Let's bring that there. And up there. I'm trying to work as quickly as I can. I'm trying to get better because when I'm not doing the talking and all that, I do find that I get much more done. So I'm trying not to. I am rambling on, but I'm trying not to be as on it. So that's that. See now, so you can see that comes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a slightly different colour. I'm going to pick this colour, and I'm going to bring it down there. And I just want to bring a little bit of a plan is to do it so that I don't go all the way down, but I'm going to put a very slight sheen on this. So as you go from the top, and this is purely arty stuff. This is nothing to do with like, oh, the light's coming in here and it's going to, none of that. I'm just going to do what I think is going to look nice. So just bring that across there, and I'm only going to go down to about halfway. The plan is just to give it a slightly different colour as it gets to the top, and you won't even see it in that kind of bit. See, just enough. So let's get these let's take the assistance off. You see it better. You can see like the edge in there. It's just giving that roughness. Again, you don't really see a lot of it, but you see enough to kind of just pick up on it with the eye. It's just enough to give you a little bit of a hint that there's something going on. I can go up here just a little bit more, and then what I'll do, see, it's just bringing that depth. It's all about adding depth, just like when I did the PCB. You just add that layer of depth, which is subtle enough to not stand out, like a sore thumb, but it's enough there just to reinforce the rest of the illustration. Right, so now I've got that. I'll do the same on here, but I'm going to let's go a bit bold, pick that colour. It's probably going to make it too light, but hey ho, it don't really matter, does it? I'll do the same on here. I'm going to do a shade on there, bring that up, and yeah. And you can see what I've done, because I've done it on the whole lot. You get that nice sheen across the screen as well, so you can start to see that coming up. I was going to select the whole lot, but I thought I'd just add the whole thing, because then it brings everything up, because I want it so the light is coming. If you can see me now, I've got my left hand waving as if you're watching me. Maybe I should put a webcam on myself while I'm doing this thing. I can put a little insert with you saying, what the hell is he doing? But you can see that's a sheen. So what I can do is I can then, afterwards, I can blur all this off. And then it's it's done. So I've added that little bit in there. So it just brings it in. Right, so now I've done that, I'm going to save the file out, but I'm going to then select this center area, and I'm just going to blur this bit that I've done, because I don't really want it to be that prominent. I just want it to be there so that it's kind of added a base to the rest of it. So I've done that. Right, and then what I'll do, go in here, let's crank that up and erase. There you go. See, it's bringing that down, but it's just enough. I just want that little corner, just a little bit. Now I'm going to do this properly in a minute with the rest, but I just wanted that little bit of reinforcement there. And again, if I pick up like the dark blue there and go to here and bring that in like that, I just want to bring that in so that it's just shading that off, just shading it off. And what did I do? Was that on the? Yeah. So I've got that on there. I'm just making sure that I hadn't drawn that on there. I don't think I did. So when I did it, I thought I knew I'd switch that on and off. But you can sort of see it's just building up that screen now, and again, it's just bringing it in, just so you've got a bit of depth. And a bit of black. I don't tend to use a lot of black when I do stuff. I like to have a colour. I like to have like a dark blue or I think that just adds a little bit of excitement to the colouring, rather than just having to stick it to you know, just blacks and whites. I mean, I do use white, I use it on highlighting, but black I tend to not use so much, because when you do use it, it's far more dramatic than if you use it all the time. So as you can see, I'm doing that like that. I'm going to bring the opacity up just a touch, really start to give that screen a little bit of an angle now, and you can see it start to sort of round off a bit now, and it starts to take a bit of shape. And you know, bring that down, doing the edging, and this just rounds that off slightly, so it's just taking that lighting area, just merging it in slightly, and it's just enough to give you a bit of an idea that there's something going on. And then I can just bring this other grey into the centre. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just basically layering it, you know, and then when I come to do the actual overline shading, that I'll add to it. So I'll switch to black for the edges, just here, and this just reinforces the edge a little bit, and also gives you a little bit of a lip, so you can kind of interpret that there's something going on there. There you go. And it's subtle enough, but you don't really see it unless you look at the whole. You know, if you look at it all as in this close up, you kind of see, you sort of see it, but when you zoom out, you kind of see that it's, you know, adding that little bit of depth to it, and you can start to see it taking shape now. You know, I've increased the size of the brush, I've got my black selected, you know. And what I was saying about using black, what I meant was I don't use black like as a solid colour a lot. I mean, obviously for the line art I've used black, but I won't use it for shading, you know, without being on an opacity level. You know, I'll use it for a little bit and maybe have a little tinge of blue in it or something, but I don't tend to use black that often in its, you know, in its unsort of regulated form, I should say. But there you go. So you can see that that's now brought that in. A little bit of shading on the top, and that just brings that thing out. So when I come in and do the actual lighter shade on the highlighting area, which will be the highlight. So why have I took that one? That's it, yeah. When it's on there, I'll do it. I mean, you could use a lot. I could use that colour, I suppose. But you know, you bring it onto that level. And I'm going to keep it on this. Actually, I don't want to keep it on the blue. I don't really want to. Just bring it up a little bit. See, I don't have to go too far because I'm only really shading it a little bit, but I want it to be enough to show. You can just bring this on here. I'll take the opacity down, and again, you can just bring it on like this, and it's just showing that there's something going on. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do the next bit in time lapse when I do the edit, so just to speed up a little bit. So that's that part done. This isn't finished, but I'm going to come back to that. Right, so now I've done that, I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to start messing around with this lot here. The first thing I think is I'm going to tackle this panel. Now I'm going to look at the reference photos. There is details there. I'll have to have a look at some more reference images for that, because I don't know, I can't remember what they are. But for now, I think I'm just going to keep that. I think it's got a little bit of a grey. Right, that'll do. Right, let's delete that. Remove layer. Okay. Right. Yeah. So I think what I'll do is I'll shade this up. I think it's got a white, kind of a white label or something on the back of this, which is then filled in. So I'll do that, and then I'll add some hint of some details there for the text. But let's pick something out. Don't want that one. Let's do I think it's more lighter. Let's do that one, shall we? That might work. Maybe a little bit. Go up to this side. Let's go there. Right. Yeah, that'll do. Right. Just want to go over a little bit. Okay. Yeah, that's what I was after. That's this. Yeah. So it's just a little bit, maybe a little bit lighter. Yeah, because I'll shade that down then. Okay. Right. So we've got that in there. Again, it's just a base layer, so it's just a base, just to put all the rest of the stuff on. Right. So what I'll do is I'll add all the text. I don't know what they say. I'll have to look at some other pictures. If I had one here, I'd have a look at it. But a lot of my machines are in storage, so I don't actually have them out here, which is a shame, really. I'd like to have them all set up, but I'd get a bit fed up with it if I had to keep moving them about. So I've kind of got them all packed away. So right, let's add a bit of shading. Now we've got that shaded off. Going to use that colour. That's good. Where was that one I had? These were base colours. Let's go for that one. Okay, let's go back to this one. And again, it's the same old story. Just in here like this. Give it a little bit of shade. But I'm going to just bring it in and over and across. And then I'm just going to bring this down. So basically, every time I go over, it's already shaded. See, look, what you can do is you can build it up. So one trick is to build up this bit here, which is like inside the lip. So like that. And then what you do is you bring it up one like that, so the whole thing is shading, but it's shading that down as well, and you just continue to go over it, so it just builds on top of it, and just continually goes. And then when you get to the corner, you can just shade that off a little bit like that, and there we go. So that's not bad. And then obviously you're gonna know I'm gonna do the eraser trick, which is what I like to do. Bring that off. That just brings it all together a bit, so you don't get the banding. Removes a lot of that banding, and then you can go back over it again, and it just reinforces that kind of like a gradient effect on there. And then you can go in with a secondary shading, which just be like, but not that harsh. Yeah, that's it. So let's bring that up. That's what I like these two brushes. They're really good for this shading. I've really kind of warmed to these two. They really work well together. And I mean, again, it doesn't have to be precise. It's just there to, I mean, part of things that I like to do is I don't like to have things which are always, so precise. You can get wrapped up in the details, and a lot of time the human eye won't notice it. It will notice things if things don't look right. So if you've got your perspective and they're not in perspective, the brain will say, well, that don't look right. But when it comes to shading, you can kind of get away with quite a lot without being that precise. You can just kind of get away with it, and it doesn't really matter. So right, we've got that, and I'm going to put a little bit of a thing in here just to bring them down, just to kind of reinforce that these are sitting there like that and like that. Again, these ain't got to be precise. It's just there to hint that they're shaded. There you go. So we've got them in there like that, and I mean, it probably wouldn't even look like this. I'm just making it up as I go along. There we go. Right, so that's that. So that looks pretty good. That's done. And I mean, these are black. So what I probably will do is I'll probably go back to the line art bits of these ones and remove it, and then actually add some shading on this, because it's only going to be like a little highlight. But I think what I'll do is I'll do that up here. these little bits, you know, you're probably looking at it and thinking, oh, you know, what have I done there? You're probably looking at it thinking, oh, it doesn't add a lot, but it really does when you look at them all together, all the bits together. And it kind of, it's weird the way it works, because you're drawing stuff and your brain just fills in the gaps. And certainly things like, since I've been doing this sort of thing, you know, for years, you kind of get to the point where, you know, the younger me would be like wrapped up on the details, but as you get older you just think, no, it doesn't have to be all the details, it's just got to give the impression there's something there, you know. The rest of it is just noise, really, that kind of reinforces what the rest of the eye is seeing. So like, for instance, all these bits here, you know, you look at it up close, it looks a bit naff, but when you zoom out, it just adds to it. You know, you can kind of see where it's all going, where the whole thing's kind of starting to look, you know. But I think those bits there are done. I'm going to go through afterwards when I get a better picture and work out what these bits actually mean. I know brightness, contrast, volume. I think one of them might have been colour temperature. I can't remember. And the buttons. I'm going to find out what they all are, and I'm going to put them in after. The same with the labels. I'm not really sure what I'm doing with the labels, so I'm going to actually go through and put an Amiga logo on it. But the next bit I'm going to do is I'm going to add the shading to this top bit. So this top bit, this is the top bit for this bit here. So, and this bit. So I think what I'll start with the flap, because that's the that's going to require a little bit of shading to give it that look. And I'm going to go for a colour of this. I'm going to go for this blue again. I like this one. And I'm going to bring that in now. That's the wrong one. Just bring that in, shade that up. And again, you know, this it's a gradient. You're just putting a gradient in and shading this right down. You know, mixing the colours up as well, so we can get two lots of shading going on. And again, that works with the eye, because your eye will fill in the gaps. And then come into here and then put in like a. I think that goes under there, doesn't it? A bit, so you probably get a little bit of a shade going on there. I think so. I'll make that a bigger brush and go over. Yeah, I think that'll work. And I'm just going to come and bring this down like that. I can do it. He says, "Do you know what happened there? My sleeve got caught on the tablet, so as I'm moving, the sleeve went, no, I'm not going that way, I want to go the other way." So I've just pulled my sleeve up now. So right, let's do that again. Right, down there like that. That's almost better, but not quite. Like that. There we go. So that's like there. So it's gone off at an angle. Let's change the angle, because my hand ain't as straight as it used to be. It's all, yeah, that's better. All right. And can you hear that? It's actually making a farting noise as my hand goes across the edge. Bonkers. Right, and let's do that one now. Let's bring that a little bit bigger, and so I can just go through it again. And oh, yeah, I'll do it that way. That's better. All right, here we go. Doing a very light touch now, just to bring it on. I like that. That's better. All right. Yeah, that's it. And one last bit along here. I'm just going to do a little bit of a shade. Like, I don't normally do this back and forth one, but for this bit I'm going to do it because I just want that little bit of extra oomph as I shade it in, because I want it to look like it's actually going under there. And there as well. Yeah, that's looking all right. Yeah, could probably go down a little bit more actually. Let's big it up a bit, eh? Let's big it up a bit there. All right, okay. I'm loving this new mic because I'm actually talking away from the mic, so it's probably, the levels are probably playing them up. But I'm looking at the volume levels, and it's actually picking up my voice really well. And even though I'm not actually, yeah, that's pretty cool. I've got on OBS. I've got the monitors going for the audio mixer, and it's actually picking it up all right. The old one just wouldn't do that. It was just such a pain because I had to have it right underneath my bottom lip, and because it's one of those like bendy mics that are fixed to the headset, and it's just to drive me mad. I haven't been doing this long, as you've seen. You know, this is the first series of videos I'm doing. I'd like to do some more, but it used to get on my nerves. Now I've got this mic on the desk. It's much better. So right, so that's that bit, and you see this like roughness, which is as as I said before, I really like that look of that. All right, let's put this bit in here. Now this bit won't be quite as rough as that because it's going to come up here, but the corner bits will. Well, in my world they will be. I mean, that might not be might not be correct in terms of how it really is, but there we go. We got that bit there. He says coughing, excuse me, dry throat. Have I got any tea left? No. Oh yeah, it's cold, but it don't matter, does it? Yeah, cold tea in a Zap 64 mug. What else is there to say? Right, so I've done that bit. A lot of this stuff I'm going to go back over and just do a few little bits and splodges of stuff afterwards, just for like to make it look good. Let's do that again. Right, done that. That's going to be quite dark there, so I'm going to bring that in and then just take that down. You're not really going to see a lot of that. And the same with this edge here. Do exactly the same with this edge here. It's going to go down there, so it's going to be darkened off. And just do the same thing, go like that, and then when it gets down here, just take it right down, and just it's only there that it starts to. It's going to be right in shadow, so I'll just bring that off. Going to pick that one just to go over it, and a bit of extra warmth to it. Well, that's much better than it was. So right, we've fixed that now. That's good. I can shade that in. Okay, right. Let's give that some shading. This is actually shaded dark here because it's got shadow from this bit. So I'm going to make that bit fairly dark. And what ones I use? Yeah, if I do that. Okay. I am rambling on to myself here, so there's a good chance that this bit's actually going to be in time lapse. So, okay, yeah, there we go. So that's that. Right, okay, done that bit. Let's do this bit here. Let's do this bit shade. That's a bit wonky, isn't it? What's going on there? Who's done that? Can't get the staff these days. Right, that should go directly down like that. Yeah, that's better. Right, okay. Oh, that's much better than it was. So, and that's starting to take shape. So I think that's probably a good place to leave it for this session because I'm going to go and I'm probably going to have to time lapse for the next bit, and I'm going to do the front, but I'm going to do that in time lapse because it's all pretty the same. So I'll see you on the other side. I said that last time, didn't I? See you on the other side. Okay, right, so I've gone through, as you probably saw in time lapse, if you're still here and haven't nodded off. Gone through and just added a few highlighted areas in a very slapdash. That's probably not the word to use. Very loose, I should say, rather than being like mega precise. I think it just makes it look more organic and makes it look a bit better. But when the monitor's looking pretty cool, I think it's looking pretty cool. Pretty cool? Very ghoulish. Very cool, I should say. Can't talk today. I think it's because I need a drink. Not an alcoholic drink, just a nice glass of water or a cup of tea. Though an alcoholic drink wouldn't go amiss, would it really, I suppose? No, that's the weekend. Yeah, so I've gone through and highlighted a few bits and pieces off. Just to, add a little bit extra depth to it. I'm going to just do a little bit more shading on the case, the outside. A little bit here, a little bit there, a bit over there, and a bit under here. And I think the monitor's done for this part of the monitor. And then I think what I'll do is I'm going to do the drive, do this, and do this, and then I'm going to tackle this. So I think I'm going to just add the shading to this bit, and then I think we're pretty much there. I'm not going to do too much on the top because the top's it needs to be a little bit lighter, but I'm not going to do too much to it because it doesn't need a lot of work at the top. I've added the highlights to it. And I'm going to take the shading up a bit, but I'm not going to do too much to it because I don't think it really needs it. So I'm going to get this brush. I've got white selected at the moment, which is probably a little bit too harsh. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. I mean, that's quite a hard brush there to do. So if I go to the white, bring it across the middle. I'm just going to do a little wash just so the top's highlighted, and then I'm going to take this down on this side like that. Yeah, I think that looks alright. This is mainly, this bit of shading I've just done is mainly to contrast this bit which I haven't done yet, and I'm going to do right this minute. That's the whole point. So I've highlighted that, and I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to do like a wash of shading on the whole lot of this without touching the screen part. I'm not going to do the sides. Actually, we're not on there. Yeah. So I'm rambling, aren't I? So if I do that over there like that, right. Bring that there. Bring that there, bring there. Got that. So that's all selected. And then what I need to do is deselect the center area here, because I don't want to muck around with the screen and the shading I've already done. And the plan is to take this down a little bit, but not too much. So I've got all that. So what I want to do is I'm on the highlight now. I'm going to bring a little bit of highlight up here, there, just a little bit like that. If I hide that, you'll see what I've done. I've just added a little bit to it, and then the plan is to, once I've done that, so if I'm really mental, you see it doesn't look right. But it's just to go a little touch across. That's 35 is a bit too harsh for that. Like that. Yeah, I'll do the same along the top here. Not too much. That's too much. I just don't want it to be subtle. But I'm going to take the top bit down. So I want to deselect this bit. So I don't want to shade the rest of it. I don't need any of that now. I'll bring that up to that. Alright, so now all I'm going to shade is this outer bit. There we go, shade. Right. And I just want to bring this down a little touch. I don't really want it to be as dark, as light as that, because I want it to be slightly darker. It's mainly to give a bit more contrast to the top, but whilst retaining a little bit of the lightness from the previous sort of colours that's on there. So you see what it's doing, it's just giving it that little bit of extra shading there and there without actually changing it too much. And again, I can go over it with the eraser bit. I want this centre bit to be a little bit highlighted. The plan is, the idea is it's just the light's coming in here, hitting it, and then you're getting like a reflection light from somewhere here, over this way somewhere, just hitting it to give you that kind of like bit of depth. And I'm going to bring this down as well, so I'm going to put a little bit of an edge on here, and that will again reinforce the shading on this bit. And I'm not going to do this bit, I'm going to do there. So I'm going to bring that in there. See, like if I bring that in, so it's a little bit too harsh at the moment. So if I do that, see, so that'll be here. Bring that down, and I can just sweep that round. But that's too harsh. 10, yeah, that's better. So the plan is to just bring that sweeping round like that, and then you just got that in there like that. It just gives a little bit of depth, not a lot, just a touch, just to, because when you look at these screens, there is you sometimes get a little bit of a shadow that just works its way in. So I can go from here. Bear in mind, this isn't highlighted, so I can come in, bring the brush edge round, and then work my way to that corner. Do the same with this bit. Start here, work my way around, and then bring the brush edge over to this corner, and then just continue to keep doing it until it's darker, and then I can just bring that off like that, and there we go. And then, so you just add in a little bit more depth, and again, because you're not going to see it from that much distance, it'll be more there. And I can take that off, just take that off like that afterwards, just to bring that down. And I'll do the same for up here. Just want to bring that edge down and be done with it. Not too worried about this bit up here because I've already done it. That's it. Right. Let's turn this round, make it easier for me hand, and do the same. So start from the edge and then work your way around, so like that, and then just bring it down like that. And that just brings it into that corner. There we go, like that. And then do the. You can mirror it like that and do the same way. That's another great feature about Critter. You've got the mirror option, which is if you look right or left handed, you'd have to worry about going against the grain of your natural hand flow, which is really handy when you're doing stuff the way you want to, just do a sweep, and you're trying to go against your natural movement of your hand. So you can just use the mirror tool, and it's the mirror canvas, and it just does it. And that just adds that off. But as you can see, that's really starting to stand out now, that monitor. It's really starting to look the business. I mean, what I can do once I've done all this, I mean, if I wanted to put like a screenshot on there, I could do a layer, maybe an additive layer or something, and then I could actually add the glow to the rest of the monitor, which might be quite nice. But yeah, there's the sky's the limit really of what you can do. So I think the monitor's pretty much, it's pretty much done actually. Going to do a little bit of extra work on that. I'm just going to save my file out, and I think we're done. I've got that little bit of a border there still. I might just reinforce that, but yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good for that. That's pretty good. Okay, so just going to do a little bit of a wash on that. Where's the grey? I want a nice grey. That brush there. I mean, you can do silly things like go, but bring the opacity right down to 5. I mean, sometimes you can just play around and just see what happens. I mean, I did that on a few other drawings I've done before, where I've just sort of, you get an idea and you think, is that going to work? And you think, well, I'll give it a go. I mean, most of the time I kind of get it right first time, and then you think, okay, that because you just get used to doing things. But you can put like, look at it like that, just bring like a, things like that, where you get like a, a brush. Or there was another one, I think it was this one. What was it, this one? One of them I had, which was quite nice. You're just playing around with the whole, the idea. I mean, that's a bit dodgy, that, isn't it? But you can do all sorts of things, like that, and then that looks a bit naff, really, doesn't it? but you know, you can play around and get kind of like ideas for what works and what doesn't work. Some of these brushes, I think my machine's struggling a bit because I've got to get a new computer in the new year because this one's starting to creak. It's done me well. I've had it a few years, so it's starting to creak now, and I think it's time to upgrade because it's as I'm doing more of this sort of stuff and I'm doing more video editing, I'm noticing the machine's kind of going, you know, it's having a little bit of trouble keeping up with me. But as I was saying, you can do like, you know, you can put like little effects like that, and you can just play around really and get, you know, get ideas. But I mean, for this one, I wanted to keep it nice and clear, so I think I'll just go back to me old faithful and just bring in, you know, just bring it in like that. Just bring it in and just work it round. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where you can just sit and play forever doing this, and then you kind of hit on it what works. I mean, one thing I did on which one was it? See, on some of the old TVs, the glass actual tube actually wrapped around, and you actually saw the edge of the tube. Whereas on these monitors, this outside casing actually sits over the monitor, so you never actually see the edge of the monitor as such. So otherwise, you could put like a little edge along here. And then that kind of finishes it off. You know, I mean, you can put like you can do this, which is another trick. You can just, I mean, providing you've got that's selected, you can do. Let's put it on 5. You can do this, that like I just like before. You can go like that, and then bring that round and do the same kind of effect that you would do on the other bits, and then just bring it round like that. Again, that adds a little bit of depth to it. You know, it's all tricks really. You know, and then the same here. You can do the same with that edge. You know, just bring it round and just bring that on like that. And there we go. Just, you know, you don't want to do up here because this is totally in shadow. But you get the idea of what's happening. It's you're kind of building up this kind of illusion that there's a, you know, it's a screen, and you're just playing around with shading and just seeing what works really. But I think I'll leave that there for now. I think we're good to go. The screen's not looking too bad. I might add some patterns to it or something, just some very subtle noise. See how we get on with that. But first, before I do the some patterns, I thought what I'll do is I'll just finish this little bit of it. I was looking at it and I thought, you know, I'll get this bit finished. So got that highlight area there. Go back to the shader, which is this one. It's down there. So we've got the shade. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to bring in, what was that one for? Let's use that one. I can merge them in. Just doing that so that I don't end up having to redo it. Redo it, what's all that? I did that layering just so that I don't have to worry about it. If I don't like what I've done, I can just delete a lot of it without having to affect in the original because I've got the shading underneath. So anyway, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this in, give it a little bit more of a curvature. Just looking at it, I thought, right, it needs some curve. So got my colour selected there. Is that kind of like a bluey black, and that's on there, right? Okay, so I'm just going to bring this down like that, bring it round. It's a little bit more depth, and there we go. Just bring that round like that, and I'll do the same over here. It's quite interesting when you sort of look at the reflections on monitors. I mean, I'm not really sure how far I'd like to go with this monitor in terms of the reflections and that. I might just put something just very, very generic on there for now, just a reflection. I did hint at it earlier in the video with this reflection. I think I'm going to create more of a reflection here and then just leave it at that, just because I don't really know what I'm going to put on it just yet. So if I go for something that's a bit more generic, then it will just sit there and it will be quite unobtrusive and it will just exist in its like, you know, current form. As you can see, I'm just taking this down. I mean, I could go for a deeper opacity, but I just like to build things up in layers, as you've seen by, you know, if you watched me earlier videos in this series. Just the way I do things. It just gives me a little bit extra control, just to play around with that, and you know, and then just I don't like to do things too heavy when I'm doing this sort of shading, because the art style just doesn't. I say the art style. It's just that this particular style I've chosen for this, which is more my natural style. I just like to have that little bit of control when I'm doing this sort of stuff. But I think, I mean, that's, you know, you can kind of get the idea now that that's starting to take a bit of shape with the curvature. Just trying to keep that line so it's down like that. Bring that round. Just so, you know, just bring it in, and then bring that up there, just so it's a bit more curved. Yeah. Just reinforcing the idea that there is a curve to this screen. And then when I do decide to do the kickstart screen on it, then it also works with that, because then that shading will then be applied to that artwork, so you'll get that subtlety of that curvature on the shading on this bit here and here as it's in there, and obviously any of the reflections will also be on there. But and you can see it on there as it's coming through. If I put that on there, you can kind of see that it's you know, it's just showing. So yeah, it's looking all right. I'm quite pleased with that. I'm just going to do a little bit more on it, because I just want to give it a little bit more depth there, a bit around there, and then I'm going to go on to putting the details in here. And then I think I'm going to call it a day on this video, because looking at the time, it's what's about an hour and 15 or something. So yeah, I'm gonna call it a day on that one. There we go. Right, that's that. That's not too bad. I mean, sometimes you know, you do stuff and you want to kind of make it so that it's you know, it just sits there in the background and it's not taken away from this, because this is the center of attention really. For me, the artwork is all about this, not about this. These are kind of background actors. The main star of the show is this. So for me, these are just kind of like background actors in the scene, and these are the main sort of components. So going to get this done. I'll probably put like a bit of a scribble on here just to show there's some details on there, and then I think that's it. So I'm going to probably go to time lapse once I start doing this, and I'll pick it up after. Okay, right. So as you can see, it's very loose. I haven't bothered to replicate it exactly, because there's just no need for it, because you're not going to see that it's just a hint that there's some details there. As for the actual monitor itself, I think this is actually based on a 1081, although I might be mistaken. I think on the later ones, a 1084, I think they had, I don't know if they had the different more buttons or not. So I'll have to look into that. I did have a quick search online, but I couldn't see anything. So I'll just have a look at this. I mean, I think the 1081 has got 2 buttons and the 1084 has got 1. I think. I might be mistaken. But I've looked at all the images. I've seen some images online, and it seems like 1084's, the flap on that has only got 1 button here rather than the 2. So I think what I'll do is I'll just leave it at that for now. And then I'm going to probably come back and do the last detailing. When I do all the the dirty stuff, put all the dirt on it and the grubbiness, and add a few little scuffs, I'll probably come back and then finish these bits off. But I think we're done now. I think we're pretty much there. I mean, I've got the nice sheen there. That looks okay. I'm happy that it's not too bad. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching this, and if you haven't seen the other videos, please check them out. The first ones, I was just setting it all up really. I was getting used to doing this sort of thing, because until this first video I did in this series, I'd never done this before. I've done plenty of video editing over the years, and I've done obviously plenty of graphics and that sort of stuff, the visual stuff, but I'd never actually done a live video tutorial or an insight into how I do stuff. So thanks for bearing with me while I find my my rhythm in this and how to do things, find me groove, as it were. And hopefully the next one will be if it's not the last one in the series, it'll be the penultimate one, because I'm hoping to get to no more than 8, and then that'll be it. And then I'm going to go on to another one, which is probably going to be the Mega Drive, I think. If you look in the colouring book, it'll be on, I can't remember what page it's on, but there's a Mega Drive, and I'm going to probably do that next. And I'm aiming to do that a little bit more organised. I'm going to set up more of a structure to the videos. Now I know what I'm doing. I've got all my overlays sorted out, and I've got all the other bits and pieces sorted out. That'll be a probably more concise and a little bit more polished. But in the name of keeping things kind of continuity, I've kind of kept these as close as I can to the previous one, so it's very similar. Anyway, thanks for watching, and catch you on the next one. Cheers.